Hey friends, have you ever felt like you're working 10 to 12-hour days and you're booked out for weeks, but your bank account simply doesn't show it? Well, believe me, you are not alone. I have lived that life many times over. So in this video, I want to break down the top 7 mistakes that keep handymen broke even though they're busy. Ultimately, so you can avoid these mistakes that I unfortunately made, and you can start making the money that you set out to make. Mistake number 1 that I've made many times over is simply underpricing every single job. When I first started out in the handyman industry, I simply chose a number out of thin air, and that's what I decided to charge per hour. When I was working full-time as an auto mechanic, I was making $25 an hour, so I figured, hey, $50 an hour, that sounds like a great number, let's charge that. But what I quickly realized is the expenses in actually owning a business are way more than being an employee at a company. So $50 an hour, even though it sounds more than 25, really at the end of the day, after you pay everything that you need to pay as a business owner, you're really not making any money. So here's the deal. If you don't know your numbers, you're gonna be striking out every time you step up to bat. You can't just go out to someone's house and throw out a random number and expect to make some money. And if you do have the wrong price and you are booked out for, say, a month or two, you have basically a month or two of being booked out at not profitable rates. So it's a lose-lose. Okay, so underpricing every job, that makes perfect sense. But how do you avoid it? Well, know your numbers. What you need to do is you need to dig into your finances and actually figure out what it costs you to run your handyman business per hour. I don't recommend you charge by the hour, but charge by the job. But you need to figure out how much it costs you to operate your business and keep your family fed, keep your retirement account fed, keep your health insurance per hour. What does that number look like? One recommendation that I'd have for you is check out the Handyman Pricing Handbook. You can find that book on Amazon. I wrote that book about 5 years ago, and it really breaks down an awesome calculator of how you can figure out what your hourly rate needs to be based on your expenses. It doesn't matter what anyone else is charging. It matters what your personal expenses are and what you need to make to be profitable in this business. So at the end of the day, you need to know your numbers and price for profit. You are not running a charity, you're running a business. But I know what you're gonna say, but Alan, you don't know my circumstance, you don't know my area, people will not pay me what I need to make per hour. I know exactly where you are, I know exactly where I was, and that's all in your head. You have to get over the fact that you are not your ideal client. Just because you will never pay a handyman to come work at your house doesn't mean that someone won't pay for you to come work at their house. You have a valuable skill set and other people need it, so you need to start valuing yourself and put your price out there and see if people bite. At the end of the day, you don't want to get into a place where you're negotiating with yourself in your head before you actually send an estimate. You want your clients to show you that they value the services that they do. And when you actually start coming at it with that mindset, rather than a lack mindset, you're gonna find out that people really value the services that you do. If you show up on time, charge what you say you're gonna charge, and actually stand behind your work, people are going to love you and they're just gonna beg you to take their money. I want you to go in it with this thought, that there are people out there that are looking for the cheapest guy. They're looking for someone that's working 20 bucks an hour, and you may have talked to those people because I've talked to plenty of them. What you need to know is those people are not your ideal client. And I want you to think about another type of person that's just sitting there waiting. They are praying for a good quality handyman that's honest and works with integrity to show up, and they are willing to pay him whatever he asks because they've dealt with those people that charge 20 bucks an hour and they're fed up with it. These people are just waiting for someone to step into the game and bring them value that they have been looking for all this time, and they don't really care what it's going to cost. Believe me, those people are out there, and those are the people that you need to look for. Remember, it's all in your head. Mistake number 2 that I got caught up into for years is not charging for estimates. Now again, this is a huge mindset piece. A lot of people struggle doing this because they're just like, estimates should be free. And I agree, estimates should be free. We tell all of our customers we give free estimates. We give free estimates over the phone. If they want us to come out there and actually view the project, it's going to be a $100 consultation fee. That gets added towards the project if we move forward. Now, setting it up this way is protecting yourself and your time. And that's really what you need to do as a business owner, is protect yourself and your time, because if you don't do that, no one else is going to do that for you. So charging the $100 consultation fee, it's not about the money. It's not about the $100, because if that gets added to the job when we move forward, it's kind of a wash anyways, and we basically did that estimate for free. What that $100 consultation fee is It's a way for the client to get skin in the game, for us to know that they're serious and they're not just coming around kicking tires trying to find the cheapest guy around. Because if they are looking for the cheapest guy around, they're not going to pay $100 just for you to come out and take a look at their project. If they're paying you $100 to come out and take a look at their project, they're more than likely serious and they've done their research and they want to work with you specifically. And they know that, so they're okay paying that $100 consult. Mistake number 3 that keeps you broke as a handyman is thinking that busy equals successful. When I first started out in this business, I was busy and I wore that busy as kind of a badge of honor. I'm like, yeah, I'm booked out for a month, I'm booked out for 2 months. Like when I used to go visit family, they'd be like, how's business?
Oh yeah, we're booked out for a month, we're booked out for 2 months.
That sounds all great and dandy, but at the end of the day, being too busy can actually be a sign that your business is unhealthy. If you're booked out for a month or even 2 months, you might want to ask yourself, am I charging enough for the work that I'm doing? And one good indication of that is looking at your bank account. Is like how much money is actually left over in your bank account at the end of the month. Because you might be busy because you're saying yes to everything and you are charging super, super low and you're offering really high quality work. People are going to keep you busy. There's no reason that people are not calling you. So you have to find that perfect medium between being busy and being profitable, because obviously you want to be busy where you have work that you're doing tomorrow and the next day and the next day, especially if you have employees, but you also need to make a profit and you need to balance those two things. And typically what we've found is a healthy distance to be booked out is about a week or 2. But at the end of the day, you need to do your numbers. You need to know that you're making a good profit, and that looks different for every single business. But that's something you need to look out for, because being busy does not equal being successful. In fact, it might show that there's something unhealthy in your business. All right, number 4 mistake that keeps most handyman broke and kept me broke for a long time is simply no follow-up. Now, the matter of the fact is that the fortune is in the follow-up. How many times have you guys gotten in the situation where you go out, you do an estimate, you send it out with your CRM, whether that's Handyman Champion or whatever, you send it out and crickets. Nothing happens. No one accepts it, no one calls, and then a week later you try and call that person up and they've completely ghosted you. Or maybe you've been in a situation where someone said, hey, Alan, I need some more work. Can you give me an estimate? And then you just sit around and you don't hear from them for months. Well, the matter of the fact is if you follow up more, you make more money. The fortune is in the follow-up. So by not following up, you're actually losing a lot of money and you're leaving a lot of money on the table. So when you write up an estimate, what I love doing, before I actually send that estimate, I give that person a call and I walk them through that estimate verbally. And if they give me a verbal okay, then I'll go ahead and send the estimate. I'll tell them what the next steps are. Hey, the next step is to drop me a deposit. We'll go ahead and get you on this calendar for such and such day. And bada bing, bada boom, you got a job scheduled. Now that looks entirely different than just blindly sending the estimate and waiting for them to get back to you. You have to follow up with people if you actually want them to book you on your calendar. At the end of the day, if we're sitting around waiting for customers to call us, we're gonna be waiting for a heck of a long time. We need to get out there and start shaking hands and kissing babies and making things happen. At the end of the day, customers are busy and they simply just forget. They may have that estimate sitting in their inbox, but they've completely forgot about it because other things are happening. Babies are crying, kids are being born, things are going on in the world. Like, this world is crazy, right? Believe it or not, the world doesn't revolve around your handyman business. So you have to do everything in your power to reach out to people and follow up with them and try and get them actually booked on your calendar. Because if you wait around for them, it's never gonna happen. So remember, the handyman who follows up is the handyman who wins. Mistake number 5 that keeps a lot of handymen broke and kept me broke for a long time is simply buying bad or inefficient leads. Now, there's a lot of websites out there that claim, hey, pay us $300 and we're gonna get you all the leads that you want in a month. You need to be cautious of these businesses because not every business has the best intention. So businesses like Home Advisor or Angie's List, and there's a bunch of others, they simply take your money, and then when a client requests for a job to be done, they send that job request out to 10 different handyman or contractors. So when you pay them for your lead, you're thinking, oh, I'm the only one that's gonna be getting this lead. Well, that's not always the case. Most of the time, your lead is being sent out to 10 other individuals for the customer to choose from. So you have to really watch who you're paying your money to and what type of ROI that they have for that marketing. So by and large, what I've found is the best ROI for marketing, like spending marketing, is Google LSA ads, Google Local Service Ads. Not really things like Yelp or Nextdoor or Angie's List or Facebook or things like that, because they're not really geared to attract people that are actually looking for handyman jobs. The cool thing about Google is it's the source. It's the #1 search traffic system in the world. So people go to Google, they type in handyman near me, so why not be paying them rather than like Angie's List or Yelp or whatever it is? I'm not saying that there's nothing to be benefited from these corporations, because they can definitely help you get your name out there, gather reviews, things like that, but they're not really a good long-term solution. At some point, you're gonna need to start transitioning to the actual big pig in the race, and that is Google. But for the most part, don't get me wrong, is that when you're first starting out, you don't need to pay for ads. If you are getting things right, like a good reputation, you're getting decals on your truck, you got a good uniform, you got a great high-quality website from handymanmarketingpros.com, like, you shouldn't need to be paying for leads to be coming into your business. That shouldn't really be a thing that you need to do, but it's always something that you can have in your back pocket to ramp up before the slow season comes. Mistake number 6 that I held on for far too long is simply no systems in your business. And that just equals pure chaos. Because when you're trying to house everything about your business in your head, it's absolutely asinine to try and figure out where you're even going to next, what kind of food you're gonna eat for lunch, what job you're gonna be doing next, because everything lives in your head.
Who do you have to call, that estimate that you have to send out, that invoice that you have to send out, that check that you need to take to the bank?
Like, there's so much stuff to think about. It's just absolutely insane to keep it all in our head. And what really hit me when I realized that I really needed systems is when I started getting a bad reputation for simply not calling people back. See, like, I was booked out, like I said, for a month or 2 months at the very beginning, and I started getting a reputation of like, don't call Honestly Handyman because he simply doesn't call you back. Now, this ruined my reputation, and the whole thing is because I was simply trying to do everything. I was trying to spin all the plates and keep all the plates spinning, that when you're doing that, you're really not keeping any plates spinning very well. So I had all these people calling me, leaving voicemails, sending me text messages, and I simply just couldn't get back to them. And then after 2 or 3 weeks of not getting back to these people, I felt bad. So I'm like, I can't call them now because it's way too late in the game, and it'll make me look silly. Like, I can't do that. So I simply just let so many calls go to voicemail and never get a call back and never get a text back, that I started getting this reputation of, hey, don't call Honestly Handyman because he simply doesn't call you back. So at that point, I sat down, I read The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. I would highly recommend that book if you're interested in building systems and processes. And then I started applying that to my business, and I created a position of a CSR. I created scripts for that, and then I hired a lady to do that, and that was probably the biggest move in my business, where I got most of that intaking capability out of my brain onto paper, onto another human being. And she has taken that position and really ran with it. It's been absolutely fantastic. I do want to insert another thing in here, is I have really grown to love systems and processes. That's what I am all about. And I actually coach people on a daily basis how to create systems and processes for their business. If you want to be involved in that, check out my coaching programs over at handymanjourney.com/coaching. I would absolutely love to help you out. If anything, I would absolutely love to have a free conversation with you. You can set up a free 15-minute conversation with me over on my website. I would absolutely love to chat with you because I love talking about this stuff. Mistake number 7 ties into mistake number 6, and that is doing it all alone. I thought that if I wanted it done right, I need to do it myself. How many of you guys have thought that? If you've thought that, drop a comment in the comment section below. Just let me know that I'm not alone, because that is such a huge one. But that mindset will keep you chained to your tools forever. So once I hired help, like I mentioned, I hired my CSR. That freed me up even just a few hours a week to free up a little bit of my brain energy to focus on another aspect of the business. And then you could focus on another aspect of the business and create systems for that, and then offload that, and then create more systems for another business and offload that. Absolutely fantastic. That decision to hire my very first employee and many other employees after that is what actually has allowed me to step back from my business and take multiple months off to spend time with my family. Oh, and one little side note, those months that I took off from my business were actually the best months that the business has ever had. So those are the 7 mistakes that most handymen make, and it actually keeps them broke. And if you have made any of those or all of those, Don't worry, you're not alone. Don't beat yourself up. There is hope, but you need to take action and do the things that you know you need to do to make the next best step in life. So that next best step, whether it's going and buying the Handyman Pricing Handbook, or going and talking to me at handymanjourney.com, or signing up for a website at handymanmarketingpros.com, or maybe it's just binge listening to the Handyman Success podcast, whatever it is, you need to do something different in your business, because if you keep trying the same thing over and over and over, and expecting different results, that's called insanity, and it's not gonna work, believe me. So grab the resources that you need. I've dropped some links and some resources down in the comment section below, and if you're ready, I would absolutely love to talk with you over at handymanjourney.com. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll talk to you later.